Hello, friends, and welcome back to r/MaliciousCompliance. When Karen decides to get a pet, the whole epic begins. But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you're new here and turn on notifications so you don't miss a new video every single day. Here we go. You want a starfish? Okay. I used to work at a well-known pet store a few years back and was the person my coworkers came to for any type of aquatic/reptile/aviary/small animal advice. This isn't really a big event, but this always makes me laugh to think about, so I figured I'd share it. I'm in the back room cleaning out the cricket bins when one of the newer employees came up to me looking really frustrated. After talking about it, I learned there was a woman on the floor who wanted to purchase our chocolate chip starfish, but apparently knew nothing of saltwater tanks and was being unreasonable and had gone through 2 other associates already. I hated doing cricket, so I gladly traded handling the Karen over that and made my way to the floor. Karen: finally, someone who might actually help me. I want this one here. I looked in her cart and noticed a small box of aquarium salt and a 5-gallon tank. Me: sorry you were having trouble, ma'am. Since I'm just walking into the situation, though, we have a few questions we like to ask before selling them live animals. So I'll just run through those with you quick so we can get you on your way. Karen, with an over-exaggerated sigh: fine, whatever. Hurry up. Perfect. What size is the saltwater aquarium setup you have at home, and what fish do you currently have in it? Like I was telling the other kids, I don't have one already. Can't you people listen? I have this one in my cart and the salt right here. I'll set it up when I get home. I want this starfish for my kids. That was literally all she had in her cart. Ignoring the fact that she was trying to cram the ocean into 5 gallons, she had no filters, heaters, substrate, hides, nothing. Got it. So, ma'am, the issue is you need to have your aquarium set up ahead of time before you purchase fish, and that takes time. Also, a tank that size is not acceptable for any type of saltwater setup. So if you'll just follow me, I can show you what sizes you'll need. She follows me to the tanks, and I point out a 55-gallon tank. Are you kidding me? Did you see the size of the starfish? No, I want this 5-gallon. Well, unfortunately, that's not an option. You'll also need more than just a tank and some salt. Fine. What do I need to get out of here? Here's where the malicious compliance kicks in. I grabbed another cart and started grabbing all the basics you'd need to start a saltwater tank, which, for those of you who don't know, that's everything but cheap. She was following me around and kept trying to yell at me, but anytime she'd say something, I'd interject with, "Oh, this tubing's on sale, good for you," or, "Oh, your children will love this substrate's color," and she'd just get redder and redder in the face. About halfway through me getting the thing she needed, totaling so far at $500, she yelled at me for being incompetent and abusing animals by not selling them to loving homes, and stormed off. I put everything back with a huge grin on my face and called our sister locations to warn them about a potential Karen headed their way. Great work. You saved a life that day. And our next story. Manager targeted me because of my family priorities. It cost her job. I've worked at a certain home improvement store for close to a decade now, about 8 years roughly. The first 7 was in North Carolina before I moved up further north to be with my best friend and her husband, who I learned was pregnant with my first godchild. As such, I transferred up to a store in the area and put my nose to the grindstone. I worked garden before and did that for some months before I started to be moved from department to department as this store was low on staff. However, this was not full-time. My old HR had dropped the ball and this store believed I wanted part-time. Having already moved, I grabbed a part-time overnight job at a gym to make ends meet and continued to work all the while asking repeatedly for full-time at the main job and never getting a definitive word back or change. Half a year into this change, I had made a good name for myself. I didn't have a good deal of friends per se, but I was respected for my work ethic and willingness to help out anyone in any department that asked me. Enter a new assistant manager. The ASM was abrasive to staff and used to getting her way. I first heard of her when she outright fired a girl working the front desk because of a Playboy tag on a jacket. Myself and several other employees organized a walkout in protest of this and succeeded in getting the store manager to reverse the decision made by the ASM. This was not our first walkout, having done this in the past when another ASM, the current's predecessor, made sexist comments about a cashier. Soon after this, I was given full-time by the ops manager, working in receiving for a cantankerous supervisor. We often did not get along, especially as my godchild got older and I took on babysitting duties while her parents worked and slept. It was not something I minded, as I adored the child. I often talked about her with my coworkers and loved to show pictures and stories. However, this was not something shared by my higher-ups. My supervisor was upset that I couldn't work overtime to help him, as we were the only two in receiving for the store because of either my second job or babysitting. And soon after the second walkout, I was made aware of a rumor circulating around the store that the child was in fact my own daughter, that I'd fathered outside of my friend's husband's knowledge. The source of the rumor was unknown, but my ASM had made disparaging remarks to me in the past about men taking care of children, so I had my theories. My holiday plans, asked off in advance as soon as our electronic system allowed, were canceled without explanation, both Thanksgiving and Christmas. I'd never missed a major holiday since I moved north and had asked the same days off the year prior and had gotten them off before the ASM arrived. Strike one. And soon after this, my supervisor, whom I work closely with every day, had a positive COVID test, forcing me, per company rules, to self-isolate until I could get a positive or negative test myself. During this week, as it took a full week to find a place with enough room to give tests thanks to Omicron, I was harassed repeatedly by text and phone call by both management and my supervisor to track down an at-home test and get back to work ASAP. All the while, I had to inform everyone I was in contact with, including my friends, family, and roommates, that I'd been exposed, risking their own holiday trips and plans. Strike two. Thankfully, my test was negative. A week after this, the Northeast gets slammed by a snow and ice storm. I drive a four-wheel drive vehicle and made it in, but near the end of my shift, I was made aware that my friend's husband had been injured and stranded in a car accident on the ice, and so left to get them home and their car to a service station. To add to it all, they lost power in their home with an infant, leaving me with the only person they could turn to with a vehicle and power. I'll admit I had a few sick hours left, but informed work that I'd be out on a family emergency. For that week, I called out each day with ongoing family emergency, with snow and ice still coating the streets, the power still down throughout our city, and every day I was hounded by calls from management demanding I return to work regardless. This would have not only risked my own safety, but would have stranded my family at my apartment with no way to get supplies or get home once the power returned. Strike three. I was done. Early in the morning that following Sunday, I walked into work and placed my resignation letter on HR's desk. That's important later. I had tendered it to be immediate as I live in an at-will state. Was it petty? Yes, I'll freely admit that. I'd given 8 years of my life to this company and asked very little in return. As I was leaving, I crossed paths with my supervisor, who asked angrily if I was finally coming back to work. I informed him of my decision to leave, ignoring his provocations, and left to go home and sleep. Several hours later, I received the gift that would ignite my semi-accidental revenge. A single text from my ASM. We'll see how long you can take care of your love child without us. Well, seems I found my probable source. My friends had been made aware of this rumor from the start. I didn't hide anything from them, and I didn't want any kind of rumor, however unlikely, to reach them from anyone but me. They're my closest friends and compatriots, and have given me the greatest gift in the form of my godchild, whom they insist I call my niece, as I'm family. Love child feels like a slur against her, and I'm not cool with that, neither are they. However, they inform me of the monumental screw-up my now former ASM had made. It was time for corporate HR to be made aware, so I began to compile my evidence. The text from my supervisor, the call records and messages left, and this holy grail of a text message. If I was going to leave, I was going to at the very least give some blowback on the team that had been so willing to target me. What happened after is secondhand from friends I still had at the store, so I can't entirely verify all of it, but the ASM played herself. The following day, a meeting of management and supervisors was convened where the ASM made it known that I'd been fired, not self-terminated, for job abandonment and immorality. And unless I'm grossly misinformed about the nature of American retail work, Immorality is not a fireable event. The store's HR rep, having earlier gotten my printed termination letter on his desk, made it known that I had indeed not been fired but left on my own, and the ASM attempted to fire him as well in front of the staff, and from there it spiraled. According to my source, entire departments began to walk out or outright quit, having had their own problems with the ASM. Appliances quit to a man. Garden left with their manager to work at a competitor, as he'd been working on this well before my saga began. Front desk walked out in protest as it came out that the ASM had threatened and blackmailed several Muslim part-timers to not wear their headscarves if they wanted hours. Lumber, receiving's main partner, quit. ProDesk joined the front desk protest as one of their number, a Sikh man, had been threatened. Cashiers, both head cashiers quit, and the other trained cashiers walked out with their desks. Ops manager had informed the district manager and quit outright before he arrived, walking out with the HR rep and my old supervisor. My source's last report of the ASM was seeing her sprinting to her car after having heard that the district staff was inbound and the store manager was forced to shut the store down for the next 2 days, last I've heard. I've been in contact with the other injured parties, and we're all compiling evidence we've collected, as several of the families are hiring lawyers. I suspect the company will attempt to keep this quiet. I have a full-time position at the gym upcoming, and I've been enjoying the extra sleep and time I get with my family. I'm never working 56 to 64-hour weeks ever again, and I'll never darken the doorstep of that store again. I hope my ASM enjoyed the temporary rush of power. I suspect she won't ever get it again, at least not in manager positions. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.